Number 3 is a crusher, by the way. If you want to claim a car from number 3, you have to be $200. $132, 61 Pontiac Bonneville. Gotta be 2.
Yeah.
Now half, 250, 250, and 2 and a half at 250, 250, and 250, sold at $200.
78.
78.
Whoop.
And he wanted to see all Pontiacs back on the road and didn't want to see anything destroyed or crushed.
That looks good. Yeah, I can take it out. Hold on. Yeah, there you go. I think it's working. Now you can pull that board out. I think you can now, yeah. So I'm back to North Dakota for trip number 2. These are the 75 Pontiac Lemans Coupes. There's a pair of them. Worked a little getting tires on them so they would roll. See out of the weeds there, she's pretty rusty, but that's the way it goes on these old cars. Something pushing half a century old, beggars can't be choosers. Got the wheels all replaced with ones that hold air, and did not bring my 3-jaw drum puller, just assumed these would roll. But there you can see, got my little plastic skid underneath. Yeah, look at the speed on that now. That was easier than most. Here it is, the morning of my second day back. You can see I got the 75 Lemans Sport Coupe loaded without any issue. There is one wheel locked up. Wish I'd brought my puller, but the winch dragged it on. Diamond plate, not too big of a deal to get it loaded. Spent the night in hotel van, got a great sleep. See, yesterday I got a jump on parting out the 75 Lemans GT. Was thinking about loading it, but last night I took the breaker bar and tried the engine, and it's stuck, seized. It's just a 350. But the red Bonneville there, the 389 that's in it, actually turns. So that kind of swayed my decision. That and this Lemans GT, I mean, it's cool, but it's just not really a car you're going to do anything with. And the shame is that it's really solid. But you can see it got hit there in the quarter panel. Fixable to the right guy, but it's just so hard to find anybody to do body work. And I personally have been trained on panel fabrication and rust repair, but I never had anybody to teach me straightening as far as collision is concerned. And so that's just a skill that I don't have at all. See, it is missing the whole front end. So specific to the 75 GT, you've got the hood with the vents, and that hood you can see is just totally mangled. It's a type of car that, just like the Sport Coupe there, all it would ever be is a beater. And I've already got 300 beaters. And the reality is this thing is 800 miles from home. I really shouldn't have bid on these cars anyway, but I'm standing there and $200 a car. I'm like, okay, it's got the rally wheels, it's got the bucket seats, it's got the sport mirror, the trunk lid's rust free. Yeah, it's dented, but it's fixable. Okay, why not? So as much as Al hated to see any old Pontiac die, and as much as I do too, you just gotta accept the realities that not every old car is gonna make it. Obviously this one's already been parted on. Front fender's damaged. I wouldn't be able to fix it totally wrinkled over like that. Maybe some of these old school body guys can. Engine seized. So I'm just gonna take what I can and not look back. So I'll give a little bit of a A-body history lesson. This is the Colonnade era, came out in '73. So the history of the Lemans GT dates back to 1970. And by that time, the muscle car craze was in full swing, but there were some problems and issues. Number one being that since these were high-performance cars in the hands of kids, that a lot of them were getting torn up and destroyed, and these kids just couldn't control them. So that led to high insurance rates. So 1970, Pontiac did a little bit of switcheroo to get around that, and they actually put the GTO drivetrain and options on a Tempest chassis and called it the GT37, and that was just a way to have the insurance rates fall under the Pontiac Tempest and not a GTO. So then 1971, they were actually dropping the Tempest name, so it became the Lemans T37. Then in 72, it carried on, and 72 had wide tape stripes down the center of the car, so like right across the tops of the wheel wells. In 1973, they went to the Colonnade body, which is like what you see here. 73 had the wide tape stripes down the center, as did 74. They were almost identical, except of course 73 and 4 was a brake for the 5-mile-an-hour bumper standards. So 74 got a chunkier rear bumper. Then 75, you can see it's got the tape stripes that are down on the bottom. So this model really shows the transition from muscle car to the end of that era. You have to keep in mind in there, 1974, they had the oil embargo, and so there's news footage of back in the day, these cars sitting around, and anything that was a big land barge with a big engine, they just couldn't sell them. So this one is equipped with a 350, which is actually the smallest displacement you could get. And by the next generation, the 78, which became the G-body, things were going to change a whole lot. Again, they had introduced the V6s, and that was just a way for the cars to trim down even more and get more of a economy mindset to them. This car, you can see, was a real pretty jade green metallic on the outside, and then it had a matching green interior. Was an original console car. Unfortunately, that was gone before I got it. You can see these seats, they're out of something else. They could be Pontiac, they could be Oldsmobile. I didn't really research at all what that little button there is on the bands. It does have the tilt steering, floor shift, smooth column, so that's a good piece that I'll be grabbing. One of the reasons I bought this as a parts car also. So I'm going to do a quick Venn code. This car is 2F37M5P. The other blue car on the trailer is 2F37S5A. The 2 is Pontiac. Second digit F refers to the Lemans Sport Coupe. This is the third year in of this body style. Came out in 73, built in 74. These are 75s. And already the third year in, the model lineup was super fat for these vehicles. So digit B would have been a Ventura SJ. D would have been a Lemans. F, what we're looking at here on the green and blue cars, is the Lemans Sport Coupe. G is a Grand Lemans. H is a Grand Am. And if you want to include another vehicle on this chassis that was a derivative, is the Grand Prix. So you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, almost 6 choices. 6 if you include the Grand Prix of what you could pick from in this body style, plus a 7th, which was the 4-door. And it's kind of interesting. It just shows you how far into the tape stripe era and how far away from the muscle car era things had come, to show that this that was derived from a muscle car and this were both termed the Lemans Sport Coupe. They didn't even have separate, which honestly, why would they have needed an 8th? So 37 is the 2-door sedan body style. They consider it a sedan because there's a B post. It is a hardtop style door with the glass that just drops down in the door. 37, again, tracing its roots back to the Lemans and Tempest. So here we are on day 2, nearing the end. Got the 75 Lemans GT all parted down. Left the motor and trans. It was just a 350 trans locked up, so not really much use there. Concentrated mainly on body and interior. Got both doors. Got the set of bucket seats with the matching back seat. Whole bunch of dash parts. Factory 8-track player. Did get the whole set of rally wheels. Trunk lid is rust free. One little dent that rather fix that than fix rust. Pretty nice rear bumper. I did need that for a car that I already had. Got a HEI distributor. Bunch of little incidentals, small parts. Floor shifter. Really nice quarter window moldings. That plastic is always brittle and ruined on these old cars, but this one was exception and they were still good. Floor shift tilt steering column. All the upper window trim for the roof around the headliner. All that's really hard to find. It just goes chalky and brittle and gets ruined as it ages. Got a set of quarter windows with the little louvers. And surprisingly, the rear bumper fillers all were good. Gas tank was good. Another set of pieces that I was needing was these trunk hinges. I'm about to go pick up a car sometime this year that has broken trunk hinges, so I was real glad to get a hold of them. So overall, you can see my $200 investment wasn't all that bad. Just a whole day of sweat equity to pull the stuff off. Always regret leaving some of this stuff behind, but the reality is I wasn't really even wanting to drive 800-mile trip one way twice, but ended up doing that just because the Lemans was $200. The red Bonneville was $200. So it's a crime of opportunity, cheap enough. And now I gotta go load the Bonneville and put all these parts away and head on home. It is long. Vehicles at this auction were staged from best to worst, and as usual, the cars toward the beginning brought pretty strong money. They had a really good crowd here, a lot of interested bidders. Sale attracted a lot of dedicated Pontiac guys and GTO guys. I was able to find a few pieces for my 68 GTO out in the parts region. When they got down to the rougher cars, that was my time to shine. I got the 61 Bonnevilles, which I still have. The paint car I think is a really good builder. It's got a title. Unfortunately, the engine is seized. All around, this is just a really good car that should be back on the road. And as I'm recording this, the car still is available. I dropped it off at a friend of mine's in western Kansas. So if anybody's interested, get a hold of me. As always, I'll put my email down in the video description box. The green 75 Lemans that I parted out gave up some good body panels. The 66 Bonneville has a good 389. That car to me looks more like a parts car. The 61 Bonneville, two-door hardtop, has been parted on quite a bit, but the roof structure is all good, so I'm casually looking for a 62 Chevy two-door to do a bubble top conversion. Circumstances of my life currently don't allow that project to be taken on just yet, so for the moment, this car waits in storage. Even though the blue 75 Lemans is a little beat up and rusty, Car has really good bones underneath, very solid frame, and the engine turns. While it will never be a restoration car, it's just too cool to die, so I think it should get new life.